Let's talk about a term you've probably heard, something that sounds like it was ripped straight from a Hollywood blockbuster. Hacker for hire. It just screams intrigue, doesn't it? But what if I told you that this phrase, this idea, actually describes one of the most essential jobs in cybersecurity today? We're going to break down what it really means. Seriously, take a second. When I say hacker for hire, what pops into your head? For most people, it's probably some shadowy figure in a hoodie, surrounded by glowing monitors, furiously typing away to crack into some top-secret server. And, well, Hollywood has definitely helped paint that picture for us.
And you know what? That image isn't completely made up. The term is absolutely tied to the world of cybercrime and illegal break-ins. But that popular image, that stereotype, it's only one tiny piece of a much, much bigger and way more important story in modern security.
So, that's exactly where we're going to start. We need to tackle this whole misconception head on. It's time to separate the movie screen fiction from the real-world cybersecurity facts, because the reality of hacking for hire has become a critical part of how we defend ourselves online. Okay, see that key phrase on the slide? With permission. That changes everything. This is where we meet the hero of our story, the ethical hacker. These are the pros who have the exact same skills, the same tools, the same mindset as the bad guys. But their goal, it's the complete opposite. They're not there to steal your data. They're hired to find the holes in your defense so you can patch them up before the real criminals show up.
Now, to really get a grip on this, you've got to understand that not all hackers are created equal. In the world of cybersecurity, they're often sorted by their motivations, using this really simple but pretty effective color system. We're talking white hats, gray hats, and black hats.
And this table just lays it all out perfectly. Over on the left, you've got the white hats. Those are our ethical hackers. The good guys. They are hired professionals working legally to make things more secure. All the way on the other side, you've got the black hats. These are the cyber criminals, the ones you read about in the news, driven by malicious intent. And right in the middle, that's the gray hats. They operate in a, let's call it a murky legal area, kind of like digital vigilantes, finding flaws without permission. So when we talk about legitimate hacker for hire services, we are always talking about the white hats.
So this brings up a pretty big question. Why is there such a massive growing demand for these services? I mean, why would any company actively pay someone to try and break into their own systems? It sounds a little crazy, right?
Well, it really boils down to three huge drivers. First, the threats are just exploding. We're talking about a constant barrage of ransomware, phishing scams, and data breaches. Second, our digital lives have become incredibly complex. Think cloud computing, all those smart devices, remote work. It all creates new doors for attackers to try and open. And third, there are rules. A lot of industries have to follow strict regulations, like GDPR in Europe, that pretty much force them to regularly test their security. Being proactive isn't just a good idea anymore, it's an absolute necessity. So what do these experts actually do? Well, they've got a whole menu of services. They can conduct deep dive security audits, test your employees against tricky social engineering scams, and even perform digital forensics to figure out what happened after a breach. But one of the most important, most powerful services they offer is something called penetration testing.
Penetration testing, or pen testing for short, is basically a full dress rehearsal for a real cyber attack. It's a controlled, authorized simulation where the ethical hacker acts like a real attacker. They'll probe your network, your apps, your systems, all to find and exploit weaknesses. It is the ultimate stress test for your digital defenses, showing you where you're vulnerable before a real criminal does.
Okay, this all sounds great in theory, but let's get practical. If you're a business owner, how do you actually go about hiring one of these experts? How do you make sure you're getting a real professional and not, accidentally inviting a fox into the henhouse? Here's your 4-point checklist. First, look for legitimate certifications. Things like CEH, which stands for Certified Ethical Hacker. It proves they have the skills. Second, verify their experience. Ask for case studies, for references, for a portfolio. Third, and this one is non-negotiable, get it all in writing with a legal agreement. It needs to spell out exactly what they're allowed to do. And finally, demand transparency. A real pro works out in the open, not from the shadows. And as we look to the future, the role of the ethical hacker is only going to get bigger and more important. Cyber threats are always evolving. We're talking about AI-powered attacks, deepfake scams, the list goes on. And our defenses have to evolve, right there with them. That's where these pros come in.
You know, this quote from the source material just sums it all up perfectly. The ethical hacker for hire is no longer some shady character from a spy movie. It's a vital, professional, and absolutely essential layer of protection for businesses, for individuals, for all of us living in this digital world. So I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. Is your digital front door unlocked? Because in the world we live in today, hiring a pro to ethically check the locks for you might just be the single smartest security move you can make.